Hello and welcome to this week's Rap Attack, the Rankings Attack podcast. I'm Sam.
And I'm Shane.
And that's the first time I've done the introduction without having to start again.
It was smooth. I wasn't even thinking about it.
I know. We're back in Studio 1 today, which means it's the second bedroom rather than the living room.
Shunted out of view.
Yeah, I know. We're being relegated down to that.
Might have something to do with the Jehovah's Witnesses that came by earlier.
Yeah, that was...
That's another story.
That's another story. That's for the theology podcast. Anyway, it's week 9. We're past the halfway point, and fortunately, none of us had a season-ending injury on Sunday.
Yeah, I got a little lucky, I have to say. There was enough of them.
Yeah.
Massacre.
It really was. And we'll get down into that later on. Yeah, I mean, there's so many injuries. I could end up being the starting right tackle for the Bucs by week 10, I think. I mean,
They could give you the call-up, yeah?
Hey, it's only a 6-hour flight.
He's on the practice squad, you know.
There you go.
For the Bucs.
God, it was a painful week for injuries, wasn't it?
True enough, my friend.
And how'd you do in fantasy? Painful or not?
No, it was okay. 2-1 this week. You know, if you give you 2-1 every week, you should be happy enough, right? But yeah, I mean, the painful part is the loss, yeah? I lost by just over a point. I think it was 1.2. And it all boiled down to the fact that last week picked up Stephen Ridley for the Jets. And as you know, he suited up, but didn't even play it down. And then, going through the availables on the waiver wire, I noticed that somebody had dropped Bradshaw from the Colts last week.
Right.
Who didn't do great, but if I had picked him up on Saturday night, which I could have done, and inserted him in my lineup, 3 points would have been enough to put me over the top. But I'd had a 3-0 week. But yeah, it's 2-1.
Oh, well.
How about yourself?
2-1 as well. I got killed in my 12-team one. I was going into it, I was 6-1, and I was playing a 1-6 team.
So,
bit of complacency.
Yeah.
It was going to be a walkover. I mean, I had a couple of people out. I had A-Rob out, I had Yeldon out, and now obviously Bell has gone out too, which hits me going forward.
Right.
Picked up Langford. But still, I got killed in that one. I lost by about 15 points, but I was looking at it. If you took away my quarterback, none of my keys, so if you took away the quarterback, my running backs, my wide receivers, and my flex, none of them got over double digits. Mm-hmm. So that's going to kill you.
You're going to lose.
Yeah, you are going to lose. But I'm 6-1, so if you're going to take a loss, you may as well take a loss.
You did it in the right league. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and so let's get into looking at what went right and what went wrong. So we're going to look at overrated and underrated, and we'll look back on week 8 to start with. Shane, you went with Jason Witten.
Yeah, we were looking at Jamie Eisenberg's ranking last week, right? And Witten was ranked a little low. So I thought, well, let's give him a shot.
You liked him going in?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he ended up with
1 fantasy point.
Which doesn't make him underrated.
No, definitely not.
16 yards, 2 receptions, only 4 targets.
It's not a lot for him. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, shocking. I don't know. The Castle experiment is, the whole Cowboy team is going down in flames, obviously. So yeah, a big miss there. And who do you have?
I had Russell Wilson.
All right. Mm-hmm.
He was ranked 19th, and I thought that actually they'd have a chance. They were going up against Dallas. And I figured that actually he'd have a chance. Only because I thought he'd end up doing a bit of running, not because of the touchdowns, because you really generally can't rely on Seattle to score multiple touchdowns.
Passing,
no, not at all.
Oh, you still hit technically, right?
I was he was underrated. he was rated 19th and he ended up 18th, so that's a push, I'm guessing.
Yeah, more or less. I'll give you even a push. Yeah.
Okay. And you're overrated.
My overrated last week, I went against the grain and I went for Gary Barnidge.
Okay.
And again, he was ranked 5th, and really it's more of a push. Again, it's technically a win because he wound up 6th. But yeah, he got a touchdown last week. He wound up being pretty much worth what they said. So
he is, yeah. I mean,
again, a sort of miss, but I mean, it's Barnidge, right?
It's Barnidge, but going forwards for the rest of the season, he is a top 10 start every week tight end, right?
It is bizarre, yeah. In my write-up, I told them that, yeah. Like he's a T1, like it's bizarre.
And same with Watson, I think, down in New Orleans.
Yeah. Both of them have been a surprise.
They have. These are these veterans that seem to be having good weeks or having good years.
And who'd you have?
I went with Lamar Miller. He was ranked 10th. He was going up against New England, and I just saw this as a bit of a red light. He'd had 2 massive games coming in, and I just thought there's no way he's going to do well against New England. I also presumed that they'd have to end up going towards the passing game.
Yeah, falling behind, which they did.
Exactly. He ended up with the touchdown, but apart from that, he only got 15 rushing yards. So you took away that touchdown. I mean, that kind of saved you if you had him. He still was a pretty disappointing start. He ended up with 8 points in standard, which was good enough for 21st.
So that's a hit.
So it's a hit, I think. He was a start, but not as maybe as high a hope as you'd have been happy with.
Yeah, and as you say, that late touchdown totally saved his ass.
Yeah. Otherwise, you would have got 1.5 fantasy points.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's look at week 9, and we're staying with CBS's rankings. We're going to go with Dave Richards.
All right.
And so let's check out the underrated first. I went with Willie Snead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. Wide receiver, Saints. Yeah.
Had a fantastic game last week. Well, then, to be fair, everyone.
Saints.
Even the Waterboy scored a touchdown for the Saints, I think.
52 points. That was a crazy, crazy game. I wish I would have watched the whole thing. We watched the last quarter.
Yeah. We got for some reason we got stuck watching what we thought would be the game of the week, the Steelers Bengals.
Yeah, which was
we stayed with it. It was a stink fest. We stayed. God knows why we stayed with it for 3 quarters, but anyway. So he's ranked 25th by Dave Richard.
What do you like about him?
I think, generally, he's looking good. Generally, I think. Breeze seems to be coming back. The passing game that was missing the first 2 or 3 weeks is clicked.
Yep. Looking at last week alone, right? 7 touchdowns.
Yeah. 7, yeah. 7.
Insane.
I can't imagine there's going to be 7 this week. Although, it's against going up a Titan as well, so it could be another slugfest.
Yeah,
it really could.
Exactly. I mean, the Titans, as it says here, giving up the 5th most points to wide receivers, right?
Yeah, they've got a new interim head coach. They've got Mike Mularkey,
right.
Who doesn't. They gave up on Wisenhunt, who I think was 5-20 or 5-32 over the last 3 seasons.
So a little bit of new coach chaos.
Yeah, new coach chaos. You've got Mike Mularkey who doesn't. He's not exactly great, but we'll see if he does anything. Either way, I think this time, Willie Snead will probably sneak into the top 20.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver too this week.
I would say so.
I'm with you.
And you?
My underrated this week is an easy pick. I went Heath Miller, tight end for the Steelers. Why is it easy? He's ranked 12th, which doesn't sound too bad, but
he's a low end start.
He's on the borderline, right? For
Yeah.
T1, but you get him in your lineup this week. He's a tight end number 1 for only one reason. They're playing the Oakland Raiders.
Rinse and repeat with that one.
And this was the beginning of my Gary Barnage.
Yeah, love him.
Exactly. Anytime you got a tight end going up against the Raiders, you slot them in. You can almost, it's getting to the point where you can almost stream tight ends against the Raiders.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're giving up, I think, almost 2 full points per week more than any other team to tight ends. Right there, that's enough. Start Heath Miller. If you saw last week, he was.
Yeah, we watched him through 3 quarters, and he picked up a lot actually.
I can't even remember the number, but yeah, Ben was locked in on him, right?
He was locked in. I think that was maybe more that Ben didn't have enough time to throw downfield, and so he was looking at him. So I guess. Okay, so Ben's will have another week under his belt.
Yep.
But still, I can see him throwing to, and obviously with Bell out, they're going to be going to the receiving game.
They're going to need Heath.
They're going to need Heath as well.
He's a definite top 10 this week. Easy.
No, I would say so as well.
So moving on to the overrated, Sam.
Overrated. This is what you might count as a hot take. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, recency bias.
Recency bias. Not just recency bias, but a large amount of recency bias going in.
So what's going on there?
So he's at the Panthers this week.
Right.
He's ranked 6th, which seems to me a little bit high. Now, we know that Denver shut him down.
Yeah, an understatement.
Yeah, big time. He threw for 78 yards, which was, his worst game of his career, I think. Probably.
Yeah, I had him in one league. I didn't even think about benching him because you just don't. Right?
Of course.
But if you benched Aaron Rodgers last week, you look like a genius, right?
Yeah, no, I think so.
So you think he's a possible benching candidate this week?
I think he's a possible benching candidate.
Falling out of the top 10?
Falling out of the top 10, yeah. I think he's probably, we can see that with a good defense, he gets shut down against Carolina.
Another good defense.
Another good defense. They give up the 3rd least points to quarterback thanks to Josh Norman, who's going to be on Randall Cobb. And I was listening to Roughing the Passer podcast yesterday, the CBS podcast. It's a good one. They've got Pete Prisco, who's a journalist. They've got Brady Quinn, and they've got Pat Cohn, who's a former general manager.
Yeah,
so it's actually
GM, a former QB,
and journalist. So it's a pretty good match. And what they were saying is that what they see in Randall Cobb is that he's a number 2.
Okay.
And he's a very good number 2. But if you take away his number 1,
which we've done this week,
which we've done this year, and the same with, for example, they were talking about Alshon Jeffrey over in Chicago. You take away Brandon Marshall, they don't necessarily have those skills to be replacement full tight end ones.
Wide receiver ones. But yeah, I think Alshon's shown that he can be, no? With Randall, I agree. I mean,
Sure.
losing their number one, Jesus, what's his
Jordy
name?
Nelson.
Thank you. Losing Jordy this year has affected, like, a lot of people would have thought that Cobb's value goes up.
Yeah.
It's definitely gone down.
I think it has, and I don't know why. I mean, okay, James Jones is there picking up the tight end, picking up the touchdowns, but so anyway, so I think overall, I think it's a little bit too high for Rodgers. I can see him actually falling outside the top 10.
So if you have somebody who you're thinking could replace him, you could bench him.
I would, yeah.
That's a bold move. I got him in one league. I don't know, but yeah, all right. So out of the top 10.
I would say, yeah, I'll be bold. I'll go bold this week and say Aaron Rodgers out of the top 10, which means he'll probably end up number one.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm cool with that.
So my overrated this week, switching over to Eric Decker of the Jets. So they got him ranked 12th versus the Jags. I guess it doesn't sound too high, but there's quite a few things about this ranking that trouble me. I mean, Jaguars aren't the team of the past that you're used to. It's not like an automatic start against the Jags. I mean, they're ranked mid-table against the receivers, and really, I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I can't see the Jags being a huge offensive blowout.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of running. And the big factor, of course, is the quarterback situation.
Or the distinct lack of quarterback situation.
It's going to be basically flipping a coin, or if you have a three-headed coin.
Three-headed coin.
What do we got?
Coin.
Fitz, who's got
Fitz.
the thumb, right?
He's got the torn ligaments in his left hand.
Something like that.
And he's a lefty, so
he
can't throw.
Yeah. So we got.
Although
Fitz.
he actually went in for the last few plays.
Really?
Because Gino couldn't play for the last. I guess it was just a
Gino got banged up as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's between Fitz, Gino, and Bryce Petty.
The country singer.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
It should be. So yeah, when you got an unknown quarterback situation, you got a guy ranked 12th. I mean, Eric Dicker's a decent wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you, he's out of the top 20.
Yeah, it does seem pretty high for me this week.
Easily overrated.
That'll do it. All right, now it's time to look at Fantasy Kryptonite, Fantasy Catnip.
I like
both of them.
Week 8, looking back, how did we do there? Our catnips. Oh no.
Looking at the screen.
My catnip was Stevie Johnson. I expected more.
Yeah.
Look at it though, right? 2 receptions, 28 yards.
2.8 points in standard.
To tell you the truth, I don't even know what happened. I mean, what happened?
I don't know. It's weird. He was over in Buffalo 2 seasons ago, and he was good, and he was there for a while. Yep. He sucked at San Francisco last year. Yep. It was injuries, and he never really got it going with Cap, although no one gets it going with Cap anymore.
I keep expecting him to come forward.
Be good old Stevie, but he's not any longer.
I don't know what it is. I mean, they're going to need him going forward, too, now.
They are, exactly.
I mean, when he got lacerated liver boy.
It's not good.
Right. Who did you have for your catnip last week?
Matt Ryan.
All right.
At Tampa Bay. I thought at 10th he was ranked way too low.
Right.
And I thought, okay, so those people that are maybe a bit dodgy on him, I would say definitely start.
He wound up startable last week.
He wound up startable. I think 19 points would have got you. I think he ended up the 11th tight end or something like that.
Quarterback.
Quarterback, sorry.
That interception kind of hurts his
He get intercept. That's what's killing him this year. I think it's not like he's throwing the yards. If you look at the yardage, it's there because you've got Julio. But
TDs as well.
Yeah, the TDs as well. But it's these turnovers that are killing him at the moment. Yeah. And so from 19 points, you got an interception, a fumble. That's 25 points or something like that. So it could have. He lost it there. Which kind of sucked.
Yeah. Well, I did a little better in my kryptonite last week.
Yeah. Who'd you get?
Orleans Darkwire.
Orleans Darkwire.
At New Orleans, he was ranked in the 24th by a few people.
Yeah, it was way too high.
Yeah, I mean, a rookie based on one run, or rookies?
Young
guy based on one run against the Cowboys, people getting on the hype train. And of course, they're falling off the hype train. I mean, 23 yards.
Like drowned rats.
23 yards, 4 points. I mean, dude, he even got hurt at the end. I heard
2 points.
Severely bruised back.
Yeah, he was out. I think he went left on a stretcher, didn't he?
Yeah. It wasn't a good start, so if you stayed away, you were happy, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Who was your kryptonite last week?
Yeah. Mine was Nate Washington.
All right.
I was worried. I thought his previous game was a one-off.
He had a huge game.
He had that massive game with over 100. Yeah, exactly. So I thought...
But he did all right, didn't he?
You know what? He did. And maybe going forwards, we think about... If you think about the Texans in a vacuum, you think... Nah.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, they're top of the division.
Right, they are doing okay.
Yeah,
right?
they're 4-4, I think.
Yeah,
Although
Hoyer's flinging it, right?
Hoyer's flinging it. Now they've got rid of the mallet who can't get himself on a plane on time.
They still have DeAndre Hopkins who's
still-
going to be
yeah.
vacuuming up a lot of the targets, but
They don't have Arian Foster now, so they're going to throw it even more, I think. So anyway, so he actually did quite well. He ended up with 74 and a touchdown, so that's 13 points in standard and 17 points in PPR. And he was the 20th ranked in week 8, so he was a useful start.
useful starter. Yeah, so a bit of a miss.
Bit of a miss on that one.
So who do we like this week? Let's start with our catnip.
Right.
What do you got,
This
Sam?
is the one I am way confident on. I am confident on this one. I'm going with Jeremy Langford.
All right. Yeah.
I've been, I've got a little thing for Jeremy.
You got him
I won't say-
stashed in
It's
your
a man.
Facebook, yeah.
I got him stashed. This was actually, I was watching, as it happens, Dave Richard he was on the CBS Sports website on a little video slot talking about sleeper draft picks to think about.
So way back when.
Well, this is way back in August. And he said 2 people to look at. One of them was Cameron Artis-Payne, who hasn't done anything. And the other one was Jeremy Langford.
Yeah, so both in backup situations who can fly under the radar and get big, right?
Exactly. And so I thought, all right, I'll take up on this. So he's been sitting on my bench in my dynasty, and I've been worrying about should I drop him? I can pick up a couple of people.
And your patience has finally been rewarded.
And it has. So he's going up against the San Diego Chargers.
All right.
And they give up a league worst, I think, 24 fantasy points to running backs a week.
Okay.
So they have an awful, stinking run D.
So yeah, I mean, you got Matt Forte out. I mean, in case you missed that, right?
Yeah.
We'll have Langford starting against the Chargers.
We don't know how long Matt's going to be out.
Yeah, it's been really...
We don't know. It's Wednesday, so we'll find out.
They're being quite secretive, too. Like, they haven't released any information.
He hasn't gone IR yet.
Okay. I mean, is it the MCL? Is the...
the ACL. And we don't know whether it's a tear or whether it's a
It's going to be a few weeks, though.
Oh, minimum 4, I'd say.
All right. So, I mean, you got Langford this week. It's an easy start.
I like him. I've got a feeling he could be top 15.
I like it. I actually went with my catnip. I went with the running back, too.
Okay.
The rookie over in San Diego, in fact.
Melvin
Gordon, yeah. I mean, most sites I've seen have him ranked outside the top 30, so you're not starting him.
Seems low.
Yeah, I mean, look, he hasn't exploded yet this year.
No.
But looking at the stats last week, he had 18 carries. He didn't do a lot with him, mid-50s, I think 54 yards-ish. But again, I mean, as we know, they're playing the Bears, and they're at home to the Bears. Bears defense is the Bears defense, and I think they're going to have to run the ball. I mean, Keenan Allen is out. And we just talked about Stevie Johnson not really doing anything. They got Malcolm Floyd, sure. They got Antonio Gates. But I think the run is going to be stressed. And based on what I saw last week, I'm thinking Melvin Gordon's going to get 20 touches, yeah.
Fine.
And
so he had 18 last week.
Yeah, and so with 20 touches, I'm just doing law of the averages here, man. He's got to break something eventually.
Hopefully not an ACL.
yeah, I should go watch my mouth, yeah. But yeah, I think Melvin Gordon is a start this week.
Fine.
Maybe just a flex, but he's inside the top 30.
Yeah. Actually, thinking about that, I don't know why we didn't put Danny Woodhead anywhere here.
True enough, yeah.
With Keenan Allen out?
I think his last week he had a little bit of an off week. Yeah, I was saying to you, he had less than 10 points last week. But you're right. I think the Woodhead, Gordon, I'd be starting both.
Yeah, I probably would as well, especially definitely. Woodhead in PPR.
So moving on to our Kryptonite.
Kryptonite. I'm going bold again.
Wow.
I'm going Andrew Luck.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. It's a bit early for that one, but yeah. So he looked a little bit better late on the Monday night.
Last couple of weeks, he's saved it up for the last quarter. Yeah.
He has. Junk time. He's 11th. He's home to the Broncos.
Yeah, and we know what that means.
And we know what that means. You know, they if you can shut down Aaron Rodgers, and they have a hell of a lot better O-line than Indy. So I'm not looking forward to Andrew Luck being protected anytime soon. Against the Broncos, they're going to rush him.
Yeah, I shouldn't be jinxing anything, but yeah, I don't like the prospects of Luck's health even. Yeah, like,
no, they got to protect him,
dude. If you can get through the game, I think you're happy.
I think that and listening to the Around the NFL podcast, they when you look at him play, they were saying he looks tentative. Mm-hmm. There's something they wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year we found out he's still battling that shoulder injury or something that's playing on his mind to make him not be the Andrew Luck we know he can be. Yeah,
the confidence isn't there. It seems like when there's nothing to lose at the end of the game, he's flinging it as usual.
Right, which you have to.
But you're right, Andrew Luck. It's weird to say, but
Plus, we also have a new offensive coordinator there.
Okay.
Because they had just
late
breaking.
Last night?
Yeah, late last night they got rid of their offensive coordinator. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, but again,
But it's gone.
Chaos again.
Yeah, that for me sounds like Pagano being thrown or throwing someone else under a bus.
Yeah, you got to put the blame somewhere. Right?
And that's the thing I don't get. Okay, so Pagano's been there for 3 seasons now, I think, or 4.
A while now.
But for one of those seasons, he was out totally because he was recovering from cancer or leukemia, and that was Arians doing that.
Yeah. So Arian was the guy.
Arians was the guy, so he was head coach and he took the wins, but it was Arians getting the wins.
So
I think Pagano's gone at the end of the season.
Well, not definitely, but yeah, if they continue on their trajectory, I agree.
Yeah, and they need to get a win, at least a winning season.
Mm-hmm. So my kryptonite for the week will be James Jones.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing this Packers Colts back and forth.
Yeah. And Chicago, and the other one was the Chicago Chargers. Yeah,
great minds and all, right?
I know.
So yeah, James Jones. I mean, pretty much the same reasons that you picked Rodgers as your overrated, right?
Yeah.
Going up against a great defense in the Panthers. Shutting down the wide receivers. I can't see James Jones being a startable guy this week.
No, probably low yardage and maybe a sneaky touchdown stolen from Cobb.
This could happen, right? I mean, this is the risk of taking James Jones as the kryptonite, is not putting him in your starting lineup because he does get those sneaky touchdowns. But I think this is a week to put him on your bench.
Yeah.
Leave him there for the week.
Yeah, I think so. He's one of those risks. I think that where he is at the moment, where he's ranked 17th, that for me screams touchdown. Take that away, and he's low end.
Yeah, he's out of the top 30.
Yeah, I would say so.
Put him on your bench.
Great. Let's put a fork in that one and move on. And now it's time for
the game
of
intrigue.
Dun dun dun.
We're just making that up.
Yeah, I know, but I like it.
Who do you got, my friend?
Actually, staying on the same thing we were talking about in the previous part of the podcast, I'm going with Bears at Chargers.
Yeah, makes sense. We've been talking about it.
Yeah, so not to sort of go over too much old ground, but I think it's interesting for a number of reasons, really. Mm-hmm. Cutler is Cutler. He's a serviceable quarterback, and he's probably a good start this week against what is generally a poor Chargers defense,
right.
I think.
Yeah, you'd probably throw him in there.
Yeah. Jeffrey should have a good game, I think, here.
Yeah, he's been massively targeted. And Royals out, right?
And Royals well out, so they've got Marquise Wilson, I think, or something like that.
Who's actually an interesting start this week, I'd say.
And Martellus Bennett as well.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
I saw he's actually available in last week in league last week.
In league, well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Langford, the running back, with Royal out, yeah, I think you're right there. Definitely.
Sure. I mean, so Langford, his action's been limited so far this season. I think he's only got a total of 100 and something yards, if that.
Yeah, I mean,
but then you're playing behind Forte. So.
Yeah, exactly. We were watching a game a few weeks back where he got a full series, and he did pretty good in that series.
Yeah.
And then you didn't see him again. And then now with Forte out last week, he got a bit of work and did all right.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he was limited this season, and I think going forward, though, he's going to be the lead back in Chicago.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Jaquiz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who could do stuff, too. I mean, if you're in a PPR...
Especially at goal line.
Yeah, if you're in a PPR, for example, bigger than 12 teams, you probably think about Jaquiz.
Yeah. Again, and we saw when he was down in Atlanta, actually, he can poach those touchdowns sometimes.
No, I'm with you there, for sure.
Okay, and then the other big one is, so Forte, he went down with an injury. We don't know whether it's MCL or ACL, but if it's torn, that's him out for the season.
I threw 40 of my Fab Bucks at Jeremy.
Did you get it?
It hasn't come through yet.
It
West
hasn't come
Coast
through
time, Yahoo, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
Yeah.
We'll find out probably around now.
Anyway. Around now, fine. So I think that's good for him. On the San Diego side, they're going to have to do without Keenan Allen. So he's
How are they going to replace him, man?
I don't know.
Malcolm Floyd had a pretty big week last week, if I remember right.
Well, that's the one you got to look at because it's not like Stevie Johnson's there either. Mm-hmm, yeah. So I guess it means they'll be going to their tight ends.
Yeah, definitely.
So
there's another guy, that Inman guy. I don't know much about him.
Dontrell Inman, yeah. That sounds about right.
I put a bid on him too. I think just $5 or something. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if he can step up, basically. Right? Yeah. And you're right. Gates is there. Didn't Ladarius get hurt?
Yeah, Ladarius is hurt again. So I mean, with those two, it's really, you don't know which one's. I don't think they've had both of them healthy for more than 1 or 2 games this year.
God, yeah.
So that's not good.
What is the deal with Keenan Allen? Lacerated
It's
liver?
a lacerated kidney. It's a lacerated kidney. First of all, because he went out the game with back spasms. Then they thought it was a shoulder injury. And then they found out they did an MRI and stuff. So it's a lacerated kidney. Gene Bramwell over on footballguys.com was noting, I think on Monday night, that the best, if it was the best case scenario, and that would be just bruised kidneys. He'd be out 2 to 3 weeks. And that's without any sort of residual rib fractures or anything like that. Well, we don't know if that's there, but it's now been diagnosed as a lacerated one.
Which just doesn't sound good.
No, he's been put on season-ending IR.
Okay.
So that's Keenan Allen out for the rest of the year.
And so, yeah, I mean, who are they going to throw the ball to? I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
It will.
As we were saying before, Woodhead could get a bit more work as well. I think we're going to run the ball a lot more.
And the interesting thing is that Phillip Rivers is number 2 ranked.
He's been going crazy.
Quarterback.
He's been a quiet, crazy offensive.
But because of Allen. So I don't know who he's going to be throwing to now.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like you say, Woodhead, Gates.
Sure.
We'll see how they get replaced. Yeah.
And so, who's your game of intrigue? Or what's your game of intrigue?
I went a little easy. I went with my NFC East rivalry here. The Eagles and the Cowboys.
The most mediocre division in the league.
The worst division in the league.
Oh no, the AFC, the NFC East is. Sorry,
the NFC East.
No, sorry,
you mean the NFC West?
NFC. No.
Where the Niners reside.
No, the Colts and the Texans and the Jags.
Oh yeah, the AFC South.
AFC South.
Yeah,
that's got to be
that is a stink fest. Well, I don't know, dude. The NFC East, there's nobody at 500.
Is there not?
I don't think so.
Wow.
The Giants are under, right?
Giants are under. Washington are,
yeah. Cowboys are like sitting at 2 and 5.
Philly are 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, let's say the NFC, let's make it interesting, yeah? We're supposed to be making this interesting.
Okay, fine. This is going to be an awesome game. Watch it.
Whoever wins has the chance of taking control of the division. So I think it's a big deal, just starting off there. So a big divisional game. Cowboys win. If the
Washington Racists lose against the Pats, which they probably will, it means there's a 3-way tie for second in the division.
Exactly, right? We got Dez, who's coming back in the second game, right? I mean, he looked all right last week physically, but they just didn't use him. They didn't know how to use him yet. Well, I guess Castle is the big problem there.
Yeah.
But Castle might learn how to use him.
You never know.
Stay optimistic, Shane. But yeah, another week of practice together. Yeah, he could be a startable wide receiver this week. So. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, Dez got shut down by Sherman.
Exactly.
But he played a lot and he looked fresh, but he only ended up with 6 targets.
Yeah, and Sherman is just that good. I mean, I watched a few of the plays and he was covering a blanket.
Yeah.
And the Eagles don't have anybody in the defensive backs that are anywhere near Sherman's level. So I think, it'll be interesting to see how well Dez can do. He's a startable guy, yeah. But of course, the most interesting thing to watch is the backfield.
Yeah.
That's where all the news is coming out of Dallas, right? I mean, of course, we've seen McFadden the last couple of weeks take over the number 1 role. He's pretty much an RB1, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, it looks like it.
113 yards last week, 285 over the last couple of weeks.
And he's averaging sort of 18, 19 carries a game.
Yeah, exactly. And especially now with the big problem with Mr. Joseph Randle.
Yeah.
I mean, the situation got so bad, they flat out released him.
Yeah.
I mean...
So does that mean increased work for Christine Michael then, you think?
I think he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. I'm not on the hype train like some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd be picking him up if he's available in the, let's say, a 12-team league.
You could do something.
I'm not starting him by any means. But I really do want to read more about the Randall situation. I mean, I know he's got problems with the light fingers and perfume stories.
Yep.
I know he didn't take kindly to being demoted. But then just releasing the guy?
Something in the background. Something's there.
It's a bit
I
crazy,
don't know.
yeah.
Or maybe he's just, it's one of those things. If you can get away with doing dumb shit if you're good enough.
Yeah. And
if you look at Greg Hardy.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, he's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Right?
He's an idiot, but
if he wasn't a starter or a Pro Bowl level player, his ass would be out of there.
Yeah. So, interesting to see if McFadden takes control of the backfield, if Christian gets some work.
Right. And on the Eagles side?
The Eagles are the Eagles, right? They're an unknown Chip Kelly factor here, right? DeMarco, DeMarco, of course, is going to be looking for the big fuck you game.
Yep.
Going up against the Cowboys. Make sure that he can, show them what they lost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you got the interesting, will Jordan Matthews come back? Will Aguilar ever do anything? These kind of things.
He's sitting on my fucking bench in a flea flicker and I don't know what to do with him.
Yeah. I mean, so Philadelphia is always a little bit curious just because of the chip factor.
Sure. You never know what. That's why, they're all fantasy kryptonite.
Yeah.
The whole of the Eagles are.
It's looking that way.
You don't want to touch him. Even if they're good, you just don't want to touch them.
Yeah, a little risky. So yeah, a little bit of Russian roulette with Chip Kelly.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so let's move on to our fantasy trust tree.
Our last section.
It's time to climb up there.
Such a sad day. Yeah?
We can be safe. We can say what we want.
All right. Well, let's take a look at our letter here. Dear ranking attack. Last week was awful. No, worse than that. It was a massacre. I happen to own a block of Volkswagen shares as part of my investment portfolio that matures at the end of the year. As you might well be aware, this strategy can no longer be viewed as optimal due to a rash of problems. I'm debating about which stock will return the most value between now and the end of the year. Which of these replacement investments will yield the highest return over the next couple of months? Charkandrick West, D'Angelo Williams, or Jeremy Langford? Bitte schön. Klaus in Düsseldorf.
Oh, Dankeschön, Klaus.
No problem.
So, another one of our international listeners, we're very much sticking in Central Europe here.
Mm-hmm.
This must be a rash of injuries caused by pollution, possibly.
It could be.
Okay, interesting.
Some fraudulent.
Anyway, so what we're looking at here is 3 running backs who are probably backups who have now been taken off waivers now, in the sense that they've probably now been claimed by everyone.
Yeah, if you still have waiver claims going through in your leagues, pick up D'Angelo Williams and Jeremy Langford now.
And spend whatever you've got left.
Yeah, throw all your fab bucks, yeah.
So what we've got 3 backup running backs who were in great running back situations in terms of their starters. So we've got Charkandrick West for the Chiefs.
Obviously replacing Jamal. Yeah.
Jamal. We've got D'Angelo Williams now backing up or now taking over. Formally backing up, now taking over from Le'Veon Bell, who's out who's also on IR. And we've got Jeremy Langford in Chicago, and we don't know, but he's definitely going to be starting running back for at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt Forte's out for a while.
Sure.
We don't know how long.
No, but let's say best case scenario, he had a similar injury to Ben Roethlisberger, which was a strained MCL. It's 4 weeks.
Yeah, all right.
Right?
So
but that's 4 weeks for an immobile quarterback,
right?
Not 4 weeks for a mobile running back.
So it is a different ball game. So we're probably looking at the end of the year. Right?
Yeah, he might be back for week 6. But then if you're not going to re-around, do you shut him down in week 16, 17 if you're nowhere near the playoffs?
Yeah, what's the point of starting him, right? If there are any questions, right?
And he's in a contract year. He's 30th. That could easily have been his last game for Chicago.
So it looks like we just talked ourselves into Langford starting for the rest of the year.
Well, I think, he's
starting for the Bears.
Sure, yeah.
So coming down between West, Williams, and Langford, who do we like most?
I'm going to go with who I like least here.
Okay.
And I'm going with D'Angelo Williams.
Really?
Because I think if you look at the overall offense there's other weapons to use.
They do have a ton of firepower.
You've got Bryant, you've got Brown, you've got Heath Miller, like we spoke about earlier. And they're a throwing team in the best of times.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. He was leading the league in rushing after 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. How soon we forget?
How soon we forget.
But of course, they didn't have the alien.
Yeah, they didn't have the alien.
It's all right. I mean,
I'm going with him just because I think there's more weapons. If you look in KC and if you look in Chicago,
there's nothing. Well, I mean, yeah, Charkandrick West did great last week. He had the 100-yard game.
And the week before.
And the week before.
He had the 152 yards or something like that.
Yeah, so two great weeks.
Yeah, 2 good weeks.
Jeremy Langford.
He's the unknown here, isn't he?
He really is. I mean, we've seen him a little bit, but not enough to really project how well he's going to do.
No.
To tell you the truth, my friend, I'm gonna disagree. I would take D'Angelo Williams first.
So you'd rank Williams, West, Langford?
Yes.
Interesting. I'd go...
I got a feeling you're going Langford first.
I'm going Langford, West, Williams. I'm going the absolute opposite, I think.
All right, we can agree to disagree.
I think with that...
Because I think there's ways to talk yourself into all of them, even West, right?
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing much there. They got Macklin, they got Kelsey, yeah.
Yeah.
But they need to run the ball to be successful. So I think you could talk yourself into West.
Yeah, no, I think you could. I mean, I've got, in our Flea Flick League, I've actually got West and Langford now.
All right. And who are you going to start this week?
I don't know, because I've got the other ones are Ingram and Lacey.
All right.
So those 4, I've now got 4 top 20 running backs to choose from every week.
Yeah, going forward for the rest of the year, you're looking pretty good, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. This week, I think I'm going to go with, I'd be tempted to start Langford.
All right.
I think.
I'm going with Williams the rest of the year.
All right.
So Klaus, we don't know. D'Angelo for Shane, Jeremy for Sam.
And whatever you do, trade in your car for an American one.
Exactly.
That doesn't do any pollution because it runs on unicorn shit.
Or something.
Or something. And on that rather surreal note, it's goodbye from me.
And me.
See you later.